The town's AAA bond rating reaffirmed and explained on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Thursday, April 12, 2012. I'm Sarah Colvin. It's time for spring cleaning, and if you have old chemicals, paints, solvents, or other hazardous materials lying around your home or lurking in the garage, it might be a good idea to get rid of them. However, these are items that can't simply be tossed in the trash. They must be disposed of properly. This weekend, you can properly dispose of household hazardous waste like unused chemicals, non-latex paints, and other cleaners at the Barnstable Transfer Station. The first of 4 household hazardous waste collection days takes place this Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon at the transfer station in Marston's Mills. For further information, call or head to the Town of Barnstable's website. The town of Barnstable is in good financial health. Standard & Poor's recently reaffirmed the town's AAA bond rating. That's the highest credit rating a municipality can achieve. I talked with Finance Director Mark Milne earlier this week. Mark explains the AAA rating and also a bond refinancing that the town got at a really great rate.
Every time we do a borrowing, we have to assign a bond rating to that because the investors who are bidding on the bonds want to know. It basically gives the investors a sense of the financial stability of the community, so that when they go to, it helps determine what they feel like bidding on those bonds. So it's kind of like our personal credit score, or your personal credit score. This is basically our credit score out in the market. An indication of how secure these bonds are.
Sure, and AAA is, from what I understand, the highest rating that a town can receive.
That's correct. Yeah, the 3 major rating agencies, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch, all use the rating scale of AAA as their highest rating. So the equivalent of that would be like an 850 for you or I on a personal credit score. It's the highest you can achieve.
Great, and so definitely good news for kind of the financial health of Barnstable now and moving forward. I want to talk too about the bond that was recently refinanced. Tell me, this was an $11 million 10-year refunding bond, or a 10-year bond. Talk to me a little bit about this, if you can explain kind of in layman's terms what this is all about.
Sure. This is a refunding bond is similar to a refinancing that someone would do on a personal level, like their mortgage, for example. We periodically go through our outstanding bond issues that we have, and we look for opportunities to do a refinancing, or what they call in the municipal market, a refunding. Every year we're looking at this to see if there's an opportunity out there. With interest rates continuing to be low, we had an opportunity this year to refinance or refund some bonds that we originally issued back in 2001, 2003, and 2004. Typically, when you issue a bond, the coupon rates or the interest rates on those bonds tend to be higher in the later years and low in the early years, because as the longer the investment is made, the higher rate of return is expected on those investments. So generally, we see the later years in a bond issue to be higher. Well, now that we're into 2012, we're seeing the bonds that we issued 8 to 10 years ago have higher coupon rates on them. So it offers us an opportunity to refinance those and get a lower coupon rate. And so that's what we're doing. And so in a few years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, we'll probably have another opportunity to do something like this with the bonds that we issued in 2005 and 2006.
Sure. So during this latest process, you received 6 bids on the bond, and you got one back at an average interest rate of 1.56%, which sounds like quite an amazing interest rate to me.
These are historically low interest rates. They continue to go down. I'm amazed at what's happening out there in the market with borrowing for municipalities. Remember a couple of years ago, the woman who forecasted the mortgage meltdown in the country predicted that we were going to have a municipal borrowing or bond default similar meltdown, which never materialized. And because these are generally some of the safest investments you can make is in municipal bonds, and the market is proving that. I mean, people are willing to take lower returns on investment and make low bids on these bonds in order to get these into their portfolios because of the security. And the AAA bond rating also helps driving that interest rate down even more. So this is the lowest we've ever seen. Every time we seem to do a borrowing issue, we're breaking our record every single time and getting a lower interest rate.
Indeed. And it kind of makes sense to me, Mark, that that municipal bonds are among the safest, just because you don't really see towns becoming insolvent that often. That's something that's going to be around for a while.
Right. I mean, it's the security behind a general obligation bond, which is the tax, the property taxes essentially. It provides the best security for bondholders, and that drives the low interest rates. So and that's why we enjoy borrowing at these rates, and it allows us to stretch our dollars even further. This one particular issue allowed us to save $1.3 million in interest costs over the remaining 10-year life of those original bonds. Now, that's about $130,000 a year. So, I mean, it's not going to solve our long-term financial challenges with constructing sewers and road infrastructure maintenance and the like. But it's $1.3 million, which is nothing to ignore, and I would not want to not do the refunding. And so it does allow us to stretch our dollars a little bit further and do maybe $130,000 worth of capital improvements more a year that we couldn't do.
Absolutely. Just, I mean, $1.3 million to me, a huge figure, and that $130,000 per year savings, I'm sure, will be excellent for the town.
Yes, and it'll be shared by several different operations, because the bonds were associated not only with general fund bond issues, but also the Community Preservation Fund and some of the land acquisitions that we did through that program. They'll share in this savings. The Marina Enterprise Fund will share in this savings because we refunded the Prince Cove acquisition bond with this, and so they'll share in some of the savings, as well as the solid waste and the sewer enterprise funds.
Sure. Now, what does this mean for the average taxpayer here in Barnstable?
Well, it doesn't directly go back into a savings to the taxpayer, but what it allows us to do is stretch the dollars further so that we can buy more on capital improvements. I mean, like I said before, it'll allow us essentially to do $130,000 more in capital improvements than had we not done this. So that's the benefit to the taxpayer. It stretches their purchasing power out more and allows us to do more.
Nearly 400 people are now talking online via Barnstable's online virtual town hall, Barnstable iForum. The site is designed to gather input and spark conversation amongst residents, visitors, and town leaders. This week, 2 new topics of discussion have been posted. The first asks for your input. What would you like to see talked about on Barnstable iForum? Another question seeks comment regarding organic landscaping, both by towns and individuals. Head to barnstableiforum.com to join the conversation. With Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Colvin.